everybody. Welcome to GH Gospel Radio and welcome to your show, Let's Talk Marriage. Tonight's topic is pretty simple. We are talking about gratitude in our marriages. A lot of times when we don't take the time to appreciate the things we have in our marriage, it robs us of the joy that we are supposed to have. You can have all the blessings, but if you don't take the time to look at it and to enjoy it, you will be doing yourself a disservice. And the funny thing is, human beings have been known as there's been a lot of psychological tests that say that the minute you stop wanting something new, it's like that's the minute you begin to die. That should tell you that people always want something new, and that is healthy, that is good. Because when you stop chasing after other things, or if you stop chasing after other goals, they may not be things per se, but there may be other goals, then it means you are getting apathetic, you don't care about anything. So naturally, people want the next best thing. So it's important that we are intentional about being grateful, about showing gratitude for the things that we do have, especially in our marriages, so that we can appreciate what God has done for us. It's good to chase after the next best thing, but it's also good to be able to appreciate the things that we do have. I don't know anybody who hasn't got any bother. I don't know anybody for whom life is perfect. Life is never perfect for everybody. Life is never perfect for anybody. At any time, there'll be something you're worried about. There'll be something you're looking forward to. There may be something you've been praying hard for so long. But just because you haven't received that one thing, does not mean that every other thing that God has done for you, especially in your marriage, you cannot show gratitude for. It's important that you search out the great things. It's important that you search out the good things, even in the challenges, even in spite of the things that you are hoping for that you haven't yet gotten. Because guess what? If you don't take the time to look, you may not see. So tonight it would have just been good that we all come and sit here and share what God has done for us. But guess what? Sometimes the one that needs to hear your testimony the most is you yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's not everything that you can share. And even with the things that you can share, nobody knows how deeply it meant to you. Nobody knows how all the little details came together to fulfill your dreams. And if it were not for you in particular, some of the details may not even make sense to other people. But you alone know how every part of your testimony matters to you. So it's good that you share your testimony with yourself. You show gratitude to God to remind yourself of how far God has brought you in your marriage, of how far you have come as a person. Because you may not have all you want, but you still have a lot. You may not have all that you asked for, but God has still done a lot. And if you don't take the time to pause and look at it, you may forget. So after talking about all the problems, all the things that we want husbands to do, all the things that we want wives to do, all the things that we want to see happen in marriage, our communication, love languages, and all of that, tonight is a remember to take a pause, to just take a minute, take a few minutes, take an hour. Just ponder over the things that God has done in your marriage, the times that God has come through for you, the prayers that God has answered. He may not have answered all of your prayers, but He alone knows why. But even as we wait for the bigger things, even as we wait for the rest, this is a good time to say thank you. A lot of times when you compare what you have to what somebody else has, you will never thank God. Whenever you compare, you will never see the value of what you have. Because somebody's goal or somebody's achievement is somebody's starting point. In this race of life, in this life, everybody is running their own race. So there's no need to compare yourself to anybody. If something makes you happy, let it make you happy. The minute you go comparing it to somebody else, you might not value it because you don't know what is going on in the other person's life. You only see what is outside. So look inside, look at your own, and thank God for the things that are working in your marriage. Thank God for the things that are working in your life. I remember back in high school, one of our headmistresses said to us that if they were to collect all the world's problems and put it in a heap and then ask everybody to come and pick one, most of us will live with our own problems, because when we are able to see everybody's problems in their totality, we can see that our own problems fit us the most. So by comparing our lives to somebody else's, we may think that somebody else has it better than we do, or we got the long end of the stick. And then we may start asking, Lord, why me? This person has this person has this. But maybe if you knew the whole story, you realize that yours is also good. But there's no need to even go and compare to find out what the real story is, because how are you even going to know the details? So you got to look at your own. Pastor Favor says, cultivate the attitude of gratitude. Yes, that is so well put. Cultivate that attitude of gratitude. You may not have all that you want yet, but search in your heart, search in your life, and see how far God has brought you. And don't compare, because if you compare, whatever you have may seem little, but God knows how much you needed that little. And however that you think what the other person has is bigger, you may not know. If you get into their shoes, you realize that, oh, you had it better. So there's no need to compare. Enjoy your own blessings. Give yourself your own testimonies and share it with your partner. You are the best two people to appreciate your testimonies the most. As long as you believe in God and you have God on your side, there are many battles He's fighting for you. There are many things He's doing for you that you can appreciate the most. There are times that your testimony will encourage other people, but for the most part, you are the very person that your own testimonies should encourage the most. Tell yourself your own testimonies. Repeat them over and over to yourself. Every time there's a new one, add it to the list. Share your testimonies with yourself, because for you can appreciate all the details. You may not be able to tell everybody else the details, but you yourself, you know that this thing that God has done, even as you cannot tell anybody, you know that God has done it. So why should we have gratitude? You see, when we focus on being grateful, when we cultivate the attitude of gratitude, like Pastor Favor said, it helps us to have hope for the future. You see, once you can remember the big things that God has done for you in the past, it makes it easy for you to know that, the one who did it before, He's able to do it again, and He will do it even bigger this time. It helps you have hope. In the midst of your challenges, you remember that the God who did it before is going to do it again. So being grateful, showing gratitude, cultivating the attitude of gratitude will help you to have hope. It will help you know that even though whatever you are waiting for has taken some time, God did it before and He's going to do it again. So you don't need to worry. Just have hope. Another reason we should have gratitude is that it helps us to see how far God. In your life, you may not think you've come far, but when you look at yourself 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and you look at who you have become. Imagine 10 years ago, the things you didn't know. Imagine 10 years ago, the things you hadn't done. There are some people that they've used 10 years to have 6 children. There are some people they've used 10 years to have 5 children. Some people have used 10 years to grow a business. When you look at yourself 10 years ago and where you have come now, you know that God has brought you through a lot. You know that God has done a lot. So it helps you to know where you have been, where God has picked you from, and how far He has brought you. These days, when you go on Facebook, some people would Facebook will ask you 10 years ago and then now. So that when you compare the pictures, you yourself you can see that even the face that you are showing now is different from the face that you showed 10 years ago. A lot has changed, even if it's not physical, even if it's not material. At least your spirit has grown, your mind has grown. There are a lot of things that you didn't know then that you know now. There are a lot of achievements that have gone on in that 10 years. You know that God has brought you this far. And the good thing is, you're not comparing how far you've come with your friends or your family or your siblings. You are comparing how far you have come by yourself with yourself 10 years ago. So your 10 years ago self is comparing to your now self. And that is how you would know how far God has brought you. If you don't sit down and make the calculation, it will not register. You wouldn't know. But when you look into your life, you realize that, hey, is this me? Is this me that has grown this far? Is this me that has matured this far? God has done a lot. And unless you sit down to look, you wouldn't know how far God has brought you. Pastor Favor says then and now. Yes, the then and now challenge on Facebook. When you go and put it side by side, you can see the comparison. Yourself 10 years ago and yourself now. So having an attitude of gratitude will help you see how far God has brought you. God has done a lot, but if you don't look, you won't see. And when you compare the things that have happened in your marriage 10 years ago, how your marriage used to be, and now how your marriage is, you can see that God has done a lot. Another reason that we should have gratitude is that it gives us the strength to trust God for the next level. Anytime you are discouraged about the things that are keeping long in your life, if you're able to take the time to just look at all the good things that God has done for you, it will energize you to have that strength to push forward, to have that strength to know that everything will be fine. So having an attitude of gratitude gives you strength, it gives you energy, it gives you some motivation, it gives you some push so that you can move forward. Every time you need encouragement, look back at your life and look at all the ways in which God has brought you through, and it will help you have gratitude. So, what are the things that we can be grateful for? I don't know about your particular story, and I don't know about your unique situation, but the general situations that we can thank God for is for life. If you had not been alive, none of this would have been possible. And if nothing at all has happened to you in the last 10 years, at least you've been alive all this while. And that alone is enough reason for you to thank God. Because as long as you have life, the everything else can happen for you. Pastor Favor says the ultimate thing that we can thank God for is life. Without life, nothing is possible. And as long as you have life, you have everything. If you had everything and you didn't have life, of course, then you have nothing. But as long as you have life, it's enough to be grateful. The other thing to thank God for is health. When you are healthy, you don't see how big of a deal it is. It is when you fall sick that you realize that, oh my God, I've been healthy for so long and I didn't even realize it. Somebody may be sick right now, but that is also another story. There can be gratitude even in that. But if you are healthy, that's another plus. It's great to thank God for your health. It's great to appreciate the fact that you have health. Health is a big deal. It's important to be grateful for your health. And another thing we can be grateful for is peace. For some of us, peace is not an absolute, right? Peace can be in the form of coming to the place where you have more understanding, you have better maturity. The things that are happening in life are not overwhelming you the way that it used to. The Bible even says that in this world you will have trouble, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. That's what Jesus Christ said. So having peace does not mean there's nothing going wrong. Having peace means that no matter what is going on, you are still hopeful, you're still grateful, and you are still trusting God and not being overwhelmed. You are not overtaken by the circumstances, but you are in control because you know God is in control. You will not lose your mind. You will not be overwhelmed. You will not be anxious because you know that God is in control. And that alone is peace. Having strength in the midst of the storm. So it's important to also be grateful to God for the peace that you have. Maybe there are things in your marriage that you wish were different. Maybe there are things in your marriage that you're still praying about. But for the fact that there's peace at home, for the fact that you can wake up and have peace, you know that God has been good. Pastor Favor says, resting in the Lord. That is peace right there. Knowing that in whatever the storm, knowing that whatever is going on, being in God's arms is the best place to be. Resting in God is a great place to have peace. That should tell you there is peace right there. And we are grateful for peace, especially in the midst of the storm. We will rest in God. Another thing that we don't need to forget, another thing that we can show gratitude for is provision. When you look at your life, God has fed you, provided for your needs, being with you whenever you needed help, all these years up until now. God has provided in your marriage. God provided for even your wedding. God provided for your life. God provided for your children. God provided some place for you to live. Everything that you have in your life comes from God, even though He gave you the strength and the wisdom to acquire it. Ultimately, it all comes from God. So for all the provision that you get from God, it's a great thing to be grateful for. It's a great thing to show gratitude for. So we also bless God. We also thank God for His provision. Because if it had not been for Him, some of us, we don't know what we would do. Yes, we can also show gratitude for growth. Sometimes I sit down and I ask myself, so all these things that I know now, how come I didn't know it when I was in my 20s? Oh, Sister Elsie, it's so good to see you. Hello, Sister Elsie, you are welcome. Nice to see you. Yeah, sometimes I sit down and I ask myself, God, if I had known everything I knew now when I was a teenager, how nice that would have been. How great my life would have been. But instead of wondering if I had known when I was younger, one thing that I can be is to be grateful for the growth that God has brought in my life, the growth that God has brought in my marriage. I am grateful for how far the things that God has taught me, the things that have opened my eyes to know better and to do better. So having gratitude for growth is also a great thing. And I know that no matter what, we all have grown some way, somehow in our marriages. We all have grown some way, somehow in our individual lives. And that is also a place to thank God or have gratitude for. We can also be grateful for our achievements, the degrees we got in school, the businesses we're able to open, the profits that we made. We can be grateful for achievements. And you alone are the best person to measure what your achievements are, because your achievements are the goals that you were able to achieve. So, whatever it was that you set out to get, if by the grace of God you have been able to attain it, that is a great place to be grateful. That's a great place to have gratitude for. So now that we have seen the things that we are grateful for to God and in general in our lives, let's look at some of the things that we can be grateful for or have gratitude for with our partners or our significant others. I think that the first thing to look at is for the fact that our partners have held the fort with us, have stayed together as a team in the marriage itself. Is something to have gratitude for. Because all this while, if they were not there, if they were not sharing the load with you, where would you have been? I know that marriage is not a one-person thing. Marriage is a three-person thing. You, your spouse, and God. So having your partner along for the ride, it's also a great place to have. It's also something great to have gratitude for. Just for them being there, just for them being a part of the team, it's a great place to be grateful for. And based on each individual partner's strengths and their contributions to the marriage, it's a great place to be grateful. And the funny thing is, when you are grateful to somebody or for somebody or for something that they did, it's important that you let them know. Tell them. It's not always that you go and complain about the things that they did wrong, because human beings, that's our attitude. We don't say thank you for the things that we like. We go and complain about the things that we don't like. Let me give you an example. Sometimes when people are eating and they're enjoying the food and the food is good, they forget to thank whoever cooked the food, the chef, that, oh, this food is really good. They'll just eat and be satisfied and walk away. But the minute the food doesn't taste good, they'll start complaining. Sometimes somebody will be on time the whole year. Let them be late like 3 or 4 times. We'll start complaining. But we never gave them any compliments for all those times that they were early, all those times that they were on time. It's important that the things that we are grateful for with our partners, we are able to tell them, thank you for doing this or that. Because the things that you are grateful for, the things that you compliment, they are the things that will draw your partner's attention. And they are the things that will encourage your partner to keep doing more. If they keep doing and you don't show your gratitude, they don't even know you are grateful for it. One day they may just wake up and be like, I've been doing this for so long and it doesn't seem like you even like it. So let me just stop doing it. And that is when you start complaining. Why have you stopped doing this? Why have you stopped doing that? Meanwhile, if you expressed your gratitude for the particular thing they were doing, it would have encouraged them. It will help you. It will help them to know that you appreciate it. And it's every time they think about not doing it anymore, they'll remind themselves that, oh, my partner complimented this. So they really appreciate it. Let me keep doing it. So as you're grateful, whatever you are grateful for with your partner, it's important that you remember to say thank you and to remember to let them know that you are grateful. In fact, wedding anniversaries are one of the times that you can take advantage. In the business of life, maybe you're going up and down, there's a lot going on, so you forget these things. But on your wedding anniversary, at least take time out to think of all that has happened in that year and be grateful for it. And you don't only have to wait for the wedding anniversary. You can choose any other day. In fact, some people are forgetful. If they choose to wait, they might forget altogether. So the minute something pops into your mind, just share it with your partner. Let them know that you don't only complain about the things that you don't like, but the ones that you like, the ones that you are grateful for, you will also share it. You will also let them know so that it will also encourage them and give them hope that you are happy. If you are happy and you don't say it, if you are grateful and you don't say it, nobody will know. It will stay in your head or in your heart. So let your partner know. Encourage your partner the things that you are grateful for. Let them know so that whenever they think of stopping, they'll remember that you are grateful and they'll go back to doing it. So this year we've said a lot. We've complained about the things that we wanted to complain about. We've mentioned the things that should be changed. We've mentioned the things that should be fixed. But today we are choosing to think about all the things that went right, all the things that we are grateful for. And that also brings to mind you that is watching me right now. Pastor Favor, I see you. Sister Elsie, I see you. And if you're on and you haven't said anything, I haven't seen you yet. Hey, Mr. Biney, I see you. God bless you for being here. If you're here and you haven't said anything, I cannot see you yet unless I go to Facebook. But I like to say a big, 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 big thank you, because most of you have been with me from the beginning. I don't take it for granted that every Sunday you come here, you share ideas, you give your comments, you make the discussion interesting. Because as I sit here and I talk, without you, we'll not have a show. Without you, it's going to be extremely, extremely boring. Thank you for keeping this show going. Thank you for your support. I'm grateful for your presence. I'm grateful for your questions. I'm grateful for your time. Yes, so I would like you to know. And that should mean that please be present more often going forward. And please bring all your questions. Please bring all your comments, because I do really appreciate it. I appreciate your time that you spend, especially being live, so that we can interact. Sometimes it can be extremely lonely if you feel like you're talking by yourself. But I've never been alone, because you all have been here every time the program is live to share ideas, to put your comments on, so that I know that you are there. God bless you. I appreciate you. So if there is no question tonight, if there's nothing more to add tonight, if there are no comments, if you have nothing else to add, this is a great place to say that I'm grateful for you. GH Gospel Radio is grateful for you. And anybody who watches this show, even after it has aired, we are very much grateful for you. Keep watching. Let us know you are there by dropping a comment. And we would really appreciate if you come live, because it really helps us and it helps the show. And also, this is your homework. Today, we kept the discussion really short because this discussion is a practical one. We cannot be grateful online because we have to show our gratitude to God in prayer or in meditation. And we also have to show the gratitude to our partners. So the rest of the time is for us to just find some time to talk to our partners. Let them know what you're grateful for this year. Let them know what you're grateful for in their marriage. Encourage each other with the positives in your marriage. That doesn't mean you have no challenges at all. It only means that you are choosing today to focus on all the great things that have been happening in the marriage in spite of all the challenges. Sister Elsie says, thank you for sharing all of your knowledge, your experience, and your wisdom with us. You are a blessing. Thank you so much, Sister Elsie. I really, really appreciate this, and I appreciate you as well. So until we come your way, God willing, next week with another topic, let's not forget that it takes a good Christian to have a good Christian marriage. And it takes a good Christian to be grateful to God and to be grateful to your partner as well. May God bless your marriage. Have a great week. Goodbye.